Welcome back to Crypto Spaces, back with another Monad update for you guys. Mon right now sitting just below 24 cent. I think this is a great spot to DCA, guys. I think this is a great time to dollar cost average. We have some massive news once again. The Monad team has not, stopped putting in that work since their release. And again, this is a Coinbase ICO. This is a L1 that is launched through Coinbase to retail investors, and has so much potential, so much going for it as far as utility and tech, right? We don't even need to worry about the price. Anything under the ICO price of 25 cent, in my opinion, is a great investment into Monad, right? Let's take a look at the massive news that we have, guys. Apparently it is confirmed that Grayscale is considering adding Monad under its assets management. So Grayscale, one of the top institutional investors, they added SWI to their assets under construct. Added SWI to their assets. They added, I think, projects like HBAR. I think has similar to like an ETF structure. That's what they're considering for that's what they're considering for Monad, right? And Monad is right there next to Polkadot on Toncoin Tron in the first line, right? Mantle, BNB, right? They haven't added BNB yet. They're also considering Arbitrum, which is an L2 for Ethereum, Aptos as well, another layer one, right? And Monad, just releasing, is being under consideration to be added to the Grayscale, the Grayscale portfolio, right? That is massive, guys. This is a massive TradFi investment fund, and for them to be considering adding Monad so quickly, that just means that the team is cooking. That just means that the people with the money, the billionaires out there, they see massive potential for Monad, and I see the same thing too, right? Obviously, I'm not made of money, guys. I'm just regular guy. I did well in 2024, like I said, but I didn't take profits as much as I could have, in my opinion. So a majority of that money just went back into like Web 2, like back into the real world, like, paying off debts or just saving a good amount. So now I've been trading since 2025, especially after the tariffs. I got super, destroyed in 2025 because of the tariffs. But I was with money, I was like, okay, I withdrew this much, took profits this much. I thought we would have went extremely high in last year. I thought we would have had euphoria, which I was wrong. But I did take some profits, not as much as I'd like I said, in 2024, because I did, in my opinion, I did really well, right? But then I reinvested, I took profits, but I left in a decent bag in 2025, and then the tariffs, and 2025 was just being a trash year. So it hit my portfolio bad. It's a good thing I had the because that was my first time making that type of money, right? So it's a good thing that I took something out, right? So that was okay, right? But if I took out as much as I could have, I would have been in a much better spot. But this is why I'm approaching the market with a lot more strategy. I'm trying to be as strategic as possible, because right, things could change fast. Like, how many people expected alt season last year, euphoria last year? They always say the most money is made in the end of the bull run, and then last year was complete and utter garbage for the crypto market, right? I have optimism that 2026 will be better. I have optimism that Monad will be an outperformer for 2026, right? And I'm seeing so much signs that it will be, right? Just yesterday we talked about Monad getting on the NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, and what's her name? I think it was Eunice, one of the co-founders, speaking about Monad on the New York Stock Exchange, right? And now we have, Grayscale, one of the biggest, asset fund managers, considering adding Monad to their portfolio. So this is bullish, man. So great, massive news for Monad here. Again, like I said, guys, Monad is in a fantastic spot. I think now is a great time to dollar cost average. I think now is anything under the ICO price is a great buy for me. Anything under the ICO price of Monad is a great time to get exposure, right? Right now, 100,000 Monad is I'm typing in the wrong thing. 100,000 monad is $2,307 right now, right? And I think that's a good bet. I see people saying they have 200K accumulated. Some people only have 50K. Some people have 130K, 150K, 70K, anywhere from 50,000. Because right now, right, 50,000 is $1,153, right? Anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000, even to up to 200,000. It's really up to your portfolio and knowing your risk and your, having control of your own risk management. What is an amount that you're willing to lose that won't, have you, going into debt? If you lose that money, you feel ruined, etc., right? You invest an amount like that. So that's why I'm not telling anybody to put 10, 20K, 30K into the market. Diversification is key. Getting exposure to good altcoins or good projects that you see have potential is key. De-risking when you get a 3x, de-risk some profits is key. Being strategic as possible is key. Also, some exposure, that's my saying, right? Some exposure is better than no exposure. If you see a runner, it may be up 2x already, 3x. You're like, dang, I missed it. But guess what? You could still toss in a $200, $300 because it could continue running. And then boom, you got you make 2K, 3K. It might even 100x. That $200 becomes 20K, 30K, right? So that's something obviously, like, you shouldn't FOMO, but sometimes some exposure is better than no exposure because we're here to be, making money and be as strategic as possible. Like, for example, on Solana, on Base Chain, they had the project that I could have bought at the lows, and it was up, and I avoided it, right? I avoided it. It felt like it just kept going higher. So I was just like, you know what? Just toss in $200 here. If it keeps climbing, you make money, right? It could go, just toss in a little bit of exposure, just a little pinch. And if it crashes back down on you, you only put in a pinch of exposure. You didn't put in a huge bag. And if it continues to outperform, because you tossed in just a little pinch, like a little 0.05% of your, or 0.5% of your portfolio there, you was able to make some money, right? Which is extremely difficult in this space to do, right? So again, Monad in a great spot, guys. I'm calling for $1 for Monad, and I know people are like, no, it's not gonna get to $1. I'm calling for that, even up to maybe just under, $2 to maybe push up to like $2.50, almost $3, right? I'm calling for that, man. And if, obviously, like I said, my targets may never hit, but this is why I always say, take profits on the way up. So if I'm wrong, I will still be taking profits at 30 cent or 20 cent per monad. I'm taking some profits off the board, right? So even if, my targets aren't hit, at least I walked away with, profitability, right? So as always, none of this is financial advice, guys. Monad looking great. Grayscale, considering Monad is bullish as heck. Really appreciate all the support. Thank y'all so much for tuning in.